I am Shanna, and this is The Soul Frequency, where freedom, love, purpose, and mission grow. Let's go. Does it feel good to be forced to do anything? Literally, I was thinking this as I'm driving. I'm remembering a time in my life. I was with my cousins. They were quite a bit older than I was. And I didn't want to try refried beans. And they were like, you have to try them. They're the best thing ever. And I'm like, I don't know, refried beans. At that time, I was like, no. And they literally held me down on the ground and put beans in my mouth. And I was like, no, I don't want these. And it was awful. And I felt like I couldn't breathe. And it was like, traumatic, right? To be forced to do something against your will. And this is what we have to understand individually and collectively right now, because there is a lot of force energy going on the planet. People feeling forced into things, right? Whether I'm forced to leave my job for some reason, I'm forced to get out of a relationship, someone's leaving me, right? And so I'm left in a situation where I feel like I can't be in this relationship anymore, but it's not my choice. Someone is forcing this breakup upon me, or whether collectively, right? Lots of different things going on that is forcing people to do things that they don't want to do. And here's what we need to know about it. It's super important. It doesn't matter what it is, but think back to your childhood, right? It is likely that you were forced to do something at some point in your childhood that you didn't want to do, right? Whether that was make your bed, whether that was sitting at the table, right? Because you didn't want to have your vegetables and someone's like, you're going to sit here until you eat your vegetables, or not getting to play when you wanted to play. You were forced to do your homework or forced to stay inside. Think back to your childhood. Almost everybody has at least one, if not 100 or 1,000 instances of times in your life where you felt forced. Realize that as a small child, right, when we are feeling forced, it's creating trauma within us. And here's the thing about force that we need to understand as a culture, is that force seems simple. Like, I can just force you. Like, how many times, even as a parent, right, you just want your child to do something you want them to do, and you might just be like, it's because I say so, you have to do this, right? It's the fastest way, we think, to cause someone to change their behavior, by forcing it. What is not as fast, right, is to be able to sit and explain to somebody why you want them to change their behavior. It takes time to sit there, have the person understand, and also have them consciously choose something, right? So much easier on the out front, right? On the surface, to feel like, oh, I can just make someone do something, and that's just the easiest, fastest way to do it. But there is always trauma attached to that. And there's going to always be backlash attached to that. And you need to know you're causing likely a trauma response in someone else when you're forcing. Think to how you felt when you might have been forced in your life. It is so important that we take the time to take a deep breath, to step back from the situation and say, why do I want this person to change their behavior in my life, right? And if I do want them to change their behavior, what is a better way that I can sit down and see eye to eye with this person, hear what they have to say, hear what their opinions are, hear where they are in their life, right? Explain where I am in mine, and be able to come to some sort of consensus that we both agree upon. Force doesn't end well. If you look back at human history, you will find in a history book, time after time after time again, where force was applied collectively and how it doesn't go well. We have to develop a new earth, a new way, which is really about using our higher intelligence, our higher consciousness, being able to really sit and be with people, and being able to come to a consensus. It's super important. I mean, literally, as I read through history with my son, I just see time and time again how, as humanity, right, we have had nations fall from force. We have had whole civilizations disappear when we don't work together, when we're not able to have a meeting of the minds and meeting of the hearts. I've seen relationships fall apart. I've seen families come apart when we're not able to come to the table and communicate. Communication is the top #1 skill set, right? A person can learn and implement that will change their life. Before we even talk about soul mission, before we even talk about our spiritual development, communication, being able to heart communicate with somebody else, to be understood, to hear them out, to be heard out. So critically important. So think about how force has played a role in your life, right? Think back to your childhood, think back to your teenage years. Think about your life. Think about how you might be forcing people in your lives in certain ways. Sometimes we do this, we don't even know we're doing it. You have a choice to make. You have an option, right? To speak from the heart, to change that energy of force into an energy of love and connection. And it's so critically important. I'll see you guys back here next week.